vaccinated or pseudo-vaccinated with these RNA and DNA products, which, by the way, are bound to increase your vitamin D deficiency. And almost certainly, if you were taking vitamin D, that will have protected you against the more harmful effects of these pseudo-vaccines.
Yeah, but, because I mean, anytime you generate an immune response, whether it's a natural physiological one or an artificially induced one, that's going to use up vitamin D. It's going to deplete your vitamin D.
Because it codes for its own destruction.
And why on earth aren't doctors testing people's vitamin D levels and titrating it up into the optimum range? It's just not being done.
I'm afraid that we've seen basically the abolition of proper medicine. Individuals, I've seen this several times in the course of my career, that if you threaten somebody wants to tell the truth about something, and if you make it clear that if they do, they lose their income, that is a very powerful force, and that has happened very, very widely. Those of us like David Grimes and myself who are extraordinarily old and have pensions dating back, I believe we have a particular responsibility. Because, mankind is not going to last forever. We are a transient species, but this is the first time when it looks like we're being threatened by our own kind.
And on a potentially global scale, we now have the technology to make this ubiquitous.
On a global scale, and instead of actually, obviously, this is why the title of my book was Vitamin D and the Great Biology Reset. These idiots, these criminals running the world at different levels, and unfortunately, it's USA and China are mainly responsible. I think to me, it's an interesting example of coincidences which probably aren't coincidences.
Well, the UK and Europe aren't exactly where I'd like them to be at the moment either, to put it mildly.
No, not. So we have to work, and we've got a meeting at the end of this month. Joseph Trito, who's president of a World Academy of Biotechnology, which is part of UNESCO and the UN, he argues very strongly that we have to return. We've got to take these organizations out from the hands of wealthy psychopaths and their systems.
But any psychopaths, whether they're wealthy or not.
But the particularly dangerous ones are the wealthy ones.
Well, the ones that have power.
The ones that have power.
Money is one modality of exercising power.
Yeah, and that particular individual is now being added to the list for Nuremberg to examine.
I mean, another. We've talked about a literal dark age due to things being thrown up into the atmosphere. I also fear another what you call a metaphorical dark age. It's quite possible that George Orwell saw the future of humanity as a boot on a human face.
Yes,
and we're already seeing it in parts of the world, and.
Well,
we have the global technology now to do this. This is the point. The technology now exists to control populations. The technology exists to control world finances. The technology exists to control where people live or don't live.
And health is under threat. I argue very strongly that big pharma should just be abolished. Sorry, big pharma has no place. With small pharma, which is making small amounts of vitamin D, Lasix, all the other drugs, we don't need any more drugs. What we do need is better natural immunity. So we need to boost our natural immunity. So we don't need to vaccinate our children and give them autism. We don't need to vaccinate our old people and give them Alzheimer's disease. We should let humanity last as long as individuals live into old age, on modest amounts of return money to what it evolved as, which was a form of barter, and let the population look after itself, by the way, because once you look after people, instead of, forcing them to be vaccinated against polio or whatever, polio vaccination, by the way, in India, Bill Gates was kicked out of India for a year or two until Modi came along because of use of live vaccines between, I think it was 2004 and 2016, live polio vaccines that are illegal in the United States, cause vaccine paralysis, identical with poliomyelitis, in at least 500,000 children in India. Think about that. It's appalling that an individual who knows nothing about medicine, cares less, is obsessed, as indeed his family were for many years, and the Rockefeller family too, with the problems of overpopulation. It's appalling that this has been allowed to go this far, and I include myself as having some responsibility for this, because you retire, you have interests like Hongshan jade and stuff like that, and things that and meanwhile people with psychopathic tendencies controlling the world, destroying our children. I mean, the outrage of what has been happening in California and elsewhere, to child trafficking, child paedophilia, etc.
And that's without even thinking about children before they're born.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. But we now at the point where medicine and understanding of science, contraception does exist. People do choose, as we chose to have, a family of 3 sons. It's
well, you didn't choose the sons bit, but you chose the you chose the children bit.
Yeah, we chose the children.
You get what you're given.
Yeah, and I think that pretty much, depopulation agenda, big pharma, Bill Gates, big money, it's all, and I think maybe finally, there's a bit of irony that the last time mankind was threatened with extinction and was extincted happened in the United States of America, what is now the United States, where there was this massive subglacial or glacial methane explosion, or explosion anyway, that wiped out they wiped out vast tracts of humanity. And if you look at La Violette's book, Earth Under Fire, he gives, there's something like 500 myths, in ancient cultures, describing fires, melting, floods, etc. And it's such a shame. It's a great shame that there's a tremendous amount of censorship of academia, of all kinds. We're no longer in the short-lived age of enlightenment.
Yeah, it was good while it lasted, wasn't it?
It was, but
from Isaac Newton up till about the year 1995.
Yes, it may have been earlier than that because of the world wars. I mean, we haven't touched on this, on the abuse of warfare, but yeah, well, it was a privilege to be alive at that time, but it's also a responsibility, and people need to wake up.
Yeah, absolutely. Professor, as always, plenty to think about there. I'm not sure I dare publish all of that, but we'll certainly go through it. And yeah.
Well, you can blame me.
Serious threats that need, well, first of all, serious numbers of people recognising the threats that we're under, and then people cleverer than me working out what the heck we're going to do about it, because I'm a bit stuck.
Well, I think that the legal profession needs to get its act together, and there are people that I know involved in the International Criminal Court,
yeah,
and these people need to wake up,
yeah,
and pin individual responsibility. But it's the individuals that go back to this contrived sequence that we've seen over the past 5 years, with or more, creation of a novel virus bioweapon in order to create a pseudo vaccine that actually isn't a vaccine at all. It makes you more D deficient in order to reduce global population. I'm sorry, people have to be held to account.
Yep. Okay, great, David. Great to talk as always. We'll
Thanks
talk again,
much.
and
Thanks,
there'll be lots
John.
of comments. I'm sure. Do feel free to go through and answer them. And
and I do actually. We've got a few hundred hard copies in English
oh yeah.
and
We'll
Italian.
put the links to get the book.
And they can pay for it. It'll be goes for €25.
Yeah. So you've got English copies of this, have you?
We've got English and Italian.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But
Okay.
you've kindly made it available for free download, which is very generous.
Yes. Okay.
We'll put the
Thanks.
links. Great to talk, David. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.